Hey everyone. I'm chatting today with Sarah Noel Block from Tiny Marketing. I love that name. And of
Hey.
course, Tiny Marketing Podcast. And she is a content strategist. And for anyone that knows me, I love content marketing. And what I like about Sarah is that not only are you doing such a bang up job on Instagram, and I love your little videos. But today, though, we're going to talk about email marketing because it's such a key element of podcasting. I know for me, I went into podcasting because I wanted to get more visibility, but I also wanted to grow my e-list.
Mhm.
And of course, that's getting leads. Do you find that, for your clients or for you, like what was your reason for starting your podcast?
My podcast was because I was already interviewing a ton of experts for my YouTube show, and I thought I might as well repurpose this
Heck yeah.
for a podcast. And now the podcast is doing like way better than my YouTube
Isn't
channel.
that funny?
Yeah, I guess my audience is just raising their hand and telling me what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, you can't argue with the stats, right? With how many people are listening to
Right.
podcasts. And then I know for me, when I go to someone's podcast page, I'm a desktop girl. I tend not to do it on my phone, whatever reason. But I like what if there is a video embedded on the page, I do like to watch the video version, I have to
Yeah,
say.
it's nice having both for sure.
Yes.
And I think that most people are finding me because of my podcast, but then they're watching the
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
So,
Perfect.
and you can repurpose videos so much, like
Yeah.
in so many different ways.
I know. I love it. So let's talk about leads. So what is your favorite way of getting leads from podcasts? Or for those that are kind of like, I need to get leads from podcasts, what is your go-to strategy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is real obvious, but have a lead generator.
Yeah.
That is part of, that's part of the show notes page. And it's even better if you have a tracking URL or a specific landing page for that specific podcast that you're on so you can track it even better. Have that part of your funnel that you're creating. Honestly, I would say the last 5 clients that I've gotten, and my clients are retainers, so they're long term, so I'm not adding on all the time. They
Hmm.
found me through podcasts, though, just listening to me
Yeah.
on podcasts. It's such an important way to be able to build that know, like, trust factor with your audience. So just being a guest on a podcast is
Hmm.
already a great way to market yourself, and then having that lead generator on there so you can get those email addresses and start nurturing them is a plus.
Absolutely. And I always like pointing out different mistakes, but like I've seen people just go to my website or just find me on Facebook. It's like,
Can't track that.
no, you can't. And they're not going to get on your e-list that way necessarily.
No, no, an email has the highest return on investment. You want to get email addresses whenever you can because, well, you can't, they might forget about you.
Hmm.
They listen to you, they think you're smart, and they might want to work with you one day. But unless you capture that email address, there's a good chance that they're going to forget you existed once they turn that podcast off.
I know, sad but true. What kind of lead magnets do you find work best? Like just kind of share some examples.
Yeah, so I love webinars, and I think that they have the greatest return from me when I'm doing them with another partner.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So because you're sharing the leads and you have double the list, if not more, because you're both promoting that webinar. So I
Hmm.
think webinars are the best lead generators. But when you're doing something like a podcast or a video with someone or a guest blog, ebooks have done really well for me.
Yeah.
Ebooks, yeah, they don't take a ton of time to create, and
No.
I created one a few years ago with it's basically the strategy I use to launch my own business and build my brand. So I had enough contracts lined up to make up my salary before I left my job. So I created an ebook on that. And that ebook has brought in so many leads without me even trying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on
Perfect.
my website. I'm not promoting it, but it does a great job of that.
I love that. Now, of course, when you're using the lead magnet to generate the leads, what is the next step?
Yeah, make sure that you have a funnel set up, an email funnel. So whatever that lead generator is, use a tracking code first. So you're able to see where that came from. And that could be, like I said before, a personalized landing page, or you could use Google campaign URLs or Bitly. So you could have a tracking URL on there. And then make sure that it's set up so it goes directly to your email marketing platform. Seems obvious, but if it's not, make sure
You've lost those leads.
Yeah, use a Zap or have it set up. Sometimes we forget that. We're all invested in the lead generator, and then maybe you've set it up so any leads that come in go to a spreadsheet that you've as like a hub because you didn't have the Zap set up. So make sure that it's set up to go directly to your email campaign or email marketing platform. And from there, have a nurture sequence set up. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel either. Create like a homepage, or I'm sorry, a welcome email that's specific for that podcast.
Yeah.
In your workflow. And then you can borrow the rest of the welcome sequence that you send to your normal email list. So just add one more on there so it's clear where they came from and you're recognizing that. And then create an original workflow with that. And then from there, move them on to a nurture sequence or a sales sequence, whatever makes sense for you. I like to do a little mix and match where it's like 3 nurture, 1 sale, 3 nurture, 1 sale.
Yeah. How long do you usually make your nurture sequences?
For eternity. I have a newsletter that goes out every week.
Yeah.
So I'm always talking to my audience.
That is key. Absolutely. And I find too, like sometimes people opt in for a lead or a checklist or whatever. And Lord knows I've done it. You get it and then you kind of forget it and it sits in your inbox and, oh yeah, I'll look at it later. And then you don't. So it's like having those emails to be like, hey, remember that thing you got?
Yeah, exactly.
Go read me.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay. On that same subject, we were talking before we hit record about email deliverability and like how difficult it is to make email work for you with the iOS update and everything. But if you have your lead generator sent via email and then they download it, that tells the email gods that your emails matter to this person and you won't be going to spam anymore. They'll prioritize sending yours. So having that little trick of having the lead generator come in an email to be downloaded, that helps a lot with deliverability in the future. Agreed.
And so you're meaning like don't have the thing on the thank you page. Wait for them to get it in the email and then open it. Yeah, that's a great tip. So with those nurture emails, like I understand what they are, but for listeners, a lot of people don't really grasp it. They're like, I've even had clients where it's like, what do I say? They have no idea what, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And before because I was a marketing director for a really long time in the corporate world. And before I was doing email marketing regularly because other people were doing it, I was kind of confused. What should I talk about? But it's super clear now. You're creating content regularly. Like, for example, you have your podcast. Your nurture sequence could just be about those topics that your podcast is on. You're providing value, you're educating your audience. That can be your nurture sequence, is promoting those podcasts. If you're doing media and you're in someone else's podcast or someone else's video or whatever, you can do an email about that. It is, nurture sequences are just about adding value and teaching and creating little bite-sized nuggets for people to learn. So yeah, I send mine every Tuesday. And
perfect.
Another thing with email deliverability is if you send it on the same day of the week and time of the week, that also helps with email deliverability in the future.
Are there any days that you find are better than others? Some people say only email on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Some people say email on Monday, don't email on Friday. Like, I don't, everyone's got an
Yeah.
opinion.
I would say don't bother emailing on Friday. No one's checking their emails.
No,
Everyone's just not on work those days.
no,
Um, I don't email on Mondays either because people's inboxes are inundated
hmm
from the weekend and they're catching up and they're more apt to just delete, delete, delete.
I
So I
know.
would go with the Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah, I know that's on my brain as well. Um, and in the emails, like should you just have text or pictures or video? Like, does it matter really what you send?
I I love a mix and match.
Yeah.
It really depends on your brand personality on what you should include, but I'll just give you an example of my own content creation process. So I create one piece of core content. We talked
Mhm.
about it before we hit record. For me, that is a video interview.
Yeah.
That's my core content. And then I repurpose it into 1,000 different ways. Like that 30-minute interview becomes 3 10-minute YouTube videos and a podcast. I don't know, I can't even, like 9, at least 12, maybe social media posts,
Totally.
and at least 3 emails. So start there. And then whatever it is that you're promoting in that email, whatever nurture or education nugget you're giving them, embed it in the email.
Yeah.
So it could be a button going to your
Yeah.
podcast. It could be a video embed. I always like adding GIFs because I put GIFs everywhere in
Yeah.
all of my content. It really it's good to do a little mix and
Yeah.
match.
It's fun to add your personality too. I love when I get emails and it's like there's a funny picture or a funny GIF, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
you're a
know.
person. Yeah.
I know, right?
Exactly. I think so many people they overthink
Mhm.
their brand personality and they feel like they need to be taken seriously.
Yeah,
But it's really you're even in B2B, it's person to person. You're selling to another
absolutely.
person. And even if you have repelled one person, they weren't attracted to your personality, that's probably a good thing because
Mhm.
they wouldn't have been a good fit for your client. So it's okay to repel as long as you're
Yeah,
attracted also. You'll bring in the right people too.
for sure. Now, how do you know what's working and not working?
Check your analytics. I am a reporting junkie. I
Nice.
just like hit refresh, refresh, refresh. I love my analytics. So see what emails are really performing well. Take note on what was the format of it.
Mhm.
What are they clicking on more often? Do they like the videos over the podcasts? Just, that's the only way
Yeah,
to know for sure. And I was at Content Marketing World not that long ago,
I
and
saw that. I was there a
yeah,
number of years ago. It's awesome.
it was so fun. It was so fun. Anne Hanley was speaking, and she was talking about her own analytics, what she considers a success for her email newsletter. And for her, it's replies. So whenever somebody
Interesting.
replies to her email, she's like, that was a win.
Interesting. Yeah. I love when emails ask a question because you do feel compelled to answer. And that's just a great way, for the algorithm, right?
Yeah,
For, email opens and stuff like that. But that's the whole point to me. It's like you want to have
yeah,
conversations and relationships with people.
exactly, exactly. So yes, it's great for, the email platform is saying that they want to talk to you,
Hmm
that they're replying, so you'll be delivered better. But also you're building that relationship with someone, and
Yeah,
that's the whole point, isn't it?
absolutely. Totally. Now, of course, obviously you're getting leads for a reason. You want to convert them to become a customer.
Right?
So someone's listening to a podcast or like, woohoo, you're awesome, Sarah. I'm going to download and listen to your webinar. Get some emails from you. Like, how do you get them to become a client?
Yeah. So once they are in your sequence, make sure that you have your nurture set up and
Hmm
make it super easy to buy from you. a lot of the times when people are failing at selling, it's because it's not clear how to purchase from you or what you're selling. So just make it clear, have a clear CTA at the end of your emails, offer opportunities every couple emails to set up a call, or maybe you're having a flash sale on one of your particular services, and that will pull people in. You can also do scoring with your email marketing.
Yeah.
So you can score them, and when they get to a certain level, maybe reach out to them directly and have a conversation with them, see how you can provide a solution for their problem.
For sure. It's funny how like some entrepreneurs have the mindset of like, okay, if I have a podcast, they're naturally going to reach out to me and want to work with me, where it's not the case. Like you do have to bring them through that funnel that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you do have to like ask them, hey, I have this thing. Like, do you want it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
they don't be thinking about it.
They don't. Yeah. Like if it's not in front of their face, and then they may not know fully how you can support them and what you have. And, you know, yeah.
That's a very good point. A lot of times I'll get people on my list, and they're on my list because they like the content I produce. They like the education that I provide. But they don't know what I do. They don't know what services I provide unless I tell them. They just know that they want to learn about what I talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I've even known some clients that have actually did the scoring, like you said, and then even had a sales team where they were a bigger company clearly, and like did outbound calling, and they were very successful at it.
When I was working corporate, that is what I did. I would score, and then once they reached a certain level on scoring, it would send them directly to sales. We used HubSpot, so it was very automated beginning to end. And yeah, that worked really well.
So speaking of HubSpot, what is your favorite CRM? Is it HubSpot then?
Yes, I do love HubSpot. It is pricey though for smaller businesses.
Yeah.
But it works really well for like the SMB level because it's not as crazy expensive as like Marketo or Pardot. Those are bigger. Those are more expensive.
They're more corporate ones, aren't they?
They are. I mean, HubSpot's not cheap. It's like $800 a month on average.
Hannah, I didn't realize it was that expensive.
Yeah, it is not cheap, but it's really great that it's an all-in-one solution.
Yeah.
And you could do everything from social media automation to scoring your customers in there. For like smaller businesses, ActiveCampaign is really nice. It's like a HubSpot Lite.
HubSpot Lite. Yeah. I do like ActiveCampaign too.
Yeah, there's some really good, less expensive ones out there.
Yeah, for sure. And some of those CRMs even have templates.
Yeah.
Which is like, at least it gets you started, right?
Yeah. I use Flowdesk for my own email marketing.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
It's so simple. They have workflows and it does everything that I need to.
Yeah. Sweet. I know there's so many options out there. It can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it can.
For sure. So what are some of the pitfalls that you find podcasters do when it comes to getting sales from their podcast?
Yeah, like the podcasters themselves, I would say probably a lot of times it's like the lack of promotion afterwards. You've done all of the work. It's a ton of work to get that podcast.
Yes.
And then you're just like letting it live on your podcast channel. You need to have like a good distribution strategy around it so people are actually seeing it.
I know. I have to say that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah. So you work so hard and then it's like,
I know. One social media post and hey, this show went live. And then that's it. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's not enough. There's so much you can do with it too. You mentioned my Instagram. So like I'll create reels from the video clips as we're putting together the podcast, the videos. I was on someone else's podcast a couple weeks ago and they had their Instagram live set up as we were recording it. So it was like a behind the scenes Instagram live of our podcast recording, which I thought was pretty cool. And I haven't seen that done before.
No, I knew someone that did it, but I could never, I'm like, it's enough to do this.
Yeah.
Like to have another device and stuff. I'm like, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, it got a little complicated. I had mine going too, so we were joining, but there was like an echo effect at first. But once it got smoothed out, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And people were asking questions during the podcast interview, which made it a little more interactive.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I never thought about that part, but yeah, you're right. Cool. Any last wisdom for those that are wanting to generate leads from podcasts? Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to reiterate my point of don't miss out on that lead gen when you're on a podcast. It's a prime opportunity to I'll use an old phrase that I haven't heard in a long time, but it's borrow someone else's audience.
Yeah.
If you're a guest on someone else's show, someone else's blog, borrow their audience and always have a lead gen so you can increase your list. It's where the money is made, is your email list.
Absolutely. And you know what not changed my mind, but made me look at it slightly differently was that someone said you're doing someone a disservice if you don't give them a next step.
Yes. I saw that really recently too. Mariah Cause, I think, is the one who said it. And yeah, I never.
It's true. It's like you're leaving them high and dry.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. See ya.
Yeah, they'd be cool to work with. Nope. You don't get next step.
Exactly. But because as humans, we like hate to ask, right? Or like don't want to be salesy. So it's like
it feels awkward.
It does. Yeah.
But with something like this, you're providing value. Yeah. You're not being salesy. You're giving them something for free.
Resource.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of resources, I know you have one to share, Sarah.
Yes. So it was last week, I had a live webinar on the 5 ways to improve your content ROI, because I've been getting a ton of questions about budgeting for next year. With the recession and budgets being cut, people are wondering where they should be spending their money. So I did a very spontaneous, I did this from conception to having it was 6 days.
Oh my God.
I know. It was like 6 weeks. It was 6 days. And, but these are the 5 ways that I have increased ROI for my own clients. And I even give you like inside reports on how my clients really did increase the ROI and actual sales numbers. So you can see how these elements actually affect money. So I have it on demand now, and I'm sharing that with your audience.
Awesome.
So they can get those 5 tips.
All right. And that's at tinymarketing.me/leverage.
Yes.
And so that plays into your tip on having a customized page and URL.
Yes. So I use 𝗵𝗣 for that to make it super easy. Because now my analytics will tell me that any leads that come in from this are from your podcast.
No pressure.
Make her look good.
That's awesome. I so appreciate your time. And of course, how can people check out your podcast?
Yes, it's the Tiny Marketing Show, and it's everywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find all of my content on Sarah Noel Block, my name, .com. All of it's there. And the show is available on podcasts and on YouTube. Yeah, perfect. All right. Keep up the good work, girl. Thanks. All right. Let me know when you're doing another webinar, or maybe we should do one together. Yeah, that would be fun. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for talking to us about leads and a lot of good tips on nurturing as well. So awesome. So have a great day. Thanks.